Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm going to introduce myself because so often I forget. I just assume that everybody knows who I am. I am Helen, Miss Higgy Higginbotham, and I am the founder of When Black Women Gather. We meet here every Sunday at 4 p.m. and we cover all kinds of topics. Most often it's just women, but every now and then we invite men, Black men, and sometimes even white women into our circle. So today we're talking to two of my good friends who are Haitian Americans, because once a month I've decided that we will do feature a country where Black people are living and thriving and surviving, and offer it as an opportunity for consider for relocation, vacation, or just to become familiar with another country, because Black folks are everywhere we go. So usually we have people calling in from that country. I'm not sure that we're going to have anybody calling in from Haiti, but if you are on the line from Haiti, please speak up. Let us know that you're here. If you're Haitian descent, living in America, Jamaica, Spain, or wherever you're calling in from, please, share in with the conversation. And once our featured guests are finished sharing their information, we will open it up to questions. So this is an opportunity for us to hear good things about Haiti. I think that even when I was Googling to try and find pictures or what have you to put with this program, everything was doom and gloom. And that's just not what I believe Haiti to be. And I want us to hear another side of what Haiti is really all about. Haiti was one of the first countries where Black people gained their independence, and we should be celebrating Haiti. We should also be considering, I think, and we'll find out today, if not to relocate to Haiti, certainly I think it should be a vacation destination for us. It is on the other side, shares the same piece of land with Dominican Republic. And how many of us don't flock? Well, I don't anymore because they're prejudiced as hell against the Haitians, but people still go to Dominican Republic. It's the same piece of land. Why aren't we supporting our own people? So with that, I'm going to bring in our two guests, which are Narline, if I can find her real quick. And okay, here's Edouard. Did I say it right? Okay.
I actually misspelled my own name.
Oh, okay.
Didn't know how to register.
Oh, okay. You want me to? I'll fix it as you get started.
Yeah, because I was rushing to get in. I thought I was late.
Oh, no, you're good. You're good. So anyway, we have two guests today who are going to lead us in this conversation. Both of them, I must say, are friends of mine here in the United States. Edouard and I work together at a local college. He's still there. And he told me I got his title wrong. What's your new title? I'm sorry.
That's all right. No. Keep going. Keep moving.
Oh, okay. But he is Haitian American, very, very proud Haitian. When I worked there, he did exhibits and held conversations. So I know of his commitment to Haiti. And I know that he shares my passion to present Haiti in a different light. So when I thought to do this, of course, I thought of him. And then there's my good friend, Miss Narline. Hi, Narline. Casimir. Did I say that right? Because y'all correct me.
Casimir, yeah.
Mira, yo hablo español, no French. Okay.
Entiendo.
And she's doing both. But anyway, yeah, so Narline actually just got back from Guatemala. So we'll have her again to talk to us about Guatemala. But today she's going to talk to us about Haiti. Narline is an attorney here in New Jersey, and she too is very committed to the Haitian culture. So what we're going to do is they are going to engage in dialogue. And then, I may chime in here and there. And then I want you all also to chime in with questions. And it's up to them. Do you guys want people to wait until you're finished, or do you want to ask questions as you go along? Okay.
Yeah, I'm open to it all.
Okay,
yeah.
We'll play it by ear. So if you just have a burning question, raise your hand and I'll grab you, and then we'll put your question on. But other than that, I'm going to take myself off spotlight. And again, those of you who I know, Cleo Manago is on this call. He thinks he's Haitian. Hey, Cleo.
I think he
Greetings.
is.
Hello.
So I'm sure that he will.
I wish I was a natural member of the royal family,
Yeah.
but I honor the royal family very much. And
Yes, he
I'm honored to be in
does.
the presence of these Haitian sisters and brothers. Greetings.
And Cleo will be very instrumental to this conversation too, because he has traveled there. So that'll be interesting to know if we can find out at some point. You can just put in the chats if you've been to Haiti, let us know, because I'm curious. I've not been to Haiti. I tried to go to Haiti. I was in DR my one and only time in 2010. And I was there for 2 weeks because we were supposed to go to Brazil, but somebody stole our money, so we ended up in DR. But it was right after the big earthquake where 200,000 people died. So my thinking, as ignorant as I may have been, was that I would be able to go over to leave DR for a couple of days and go to Haiti for a couple of days and do some volunteer work. But it ain't that easy, y'all. I couldn't do it. So with that, I'm going to sign myself off and turn it over to my guests. Thank you both for agreeing to do this for me. There you go.
You're welcome.
All right, I'll start and then I'll pass it off to Narline. And basically, my name is Edouard and I'm Haitian born and very proud of it. And by the way, I'm not only proud of being Haitian, I'm proud of being African descent, period. Because Black people everywhere are the same people. We come from the same roots. In order to understand the present situation in Haiti, we must first look at its history, even though I will be brief. In my brief presentation, we will look at important dates along the narrow corridor to discover causes that led Haiti to this current situation. Now, Haiti was the richest colony in the Western for all the Western nations, producing about 40% of the world's sugar and about 2/3 of the world's coffee, in addition to a lot of other produce. But those are the two that made the French a lot of money. And but the French were ruthless. They were so ruthless that most slaves would have a lifetime average of between 4 to 5 years, because they beat us mercilessly and forced us to work, because they only saw the end product, which was the benefits for them. And so the slave eventually revolted. But I want to go back and share some dates with you. America became independent in 1783, all right? And also in 1787 through 1799, the French Revolution began in France. So after America became independent in 1783, 8 years later, the Haitian Revolt began in 1791. So you would have thought that America would have been happy to see that they fought the British because they were had taxation without representation, because they were being in a servitude type of relationship, that here is this island of Africans who are now fighting for their independence. But the thing about it, they weren't supportive of us at all, because we were Black, basically, we're Africans. So so we then became, achieve our independence in 1804. But around that time, from 1791 to 1804, Napoleon, who reigned supreme in France at that time, sent one of his best generals, Charles Leclerc, to overthrow the revolution and restore French rule. But Haitians, led by Jean-Jacques Dessalines and Henri Christophe, prevailed over the French, and Dessalines declared Haiti free in 1804. Now, there's several things that went along with that. What went along with that is that any person from any ethnic background, the minute you set foot on that piece of land in Haiti, you were considered free. So that was something that was never done before, because the Haitian people fought not only for themselves, but for anyone else who can land in Haiti. But also during those same years, because French was fighting us in Haiti and they were losing, they had property in the United States that were valuable to them that they eventually ended up having to sell to the Americans. But that's never recorded in history. It's recorded in history, but it's not talked about. That America was able to double its size because of the Haitian Revolution. And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. The Louisiana Purchase took place in 1803. We got our independence in 1804. Are you guys following the dates a little bit? The Louisiana Purchase occurred in 1803. We got our independence in 1804. So US acquired 827 square miles from the French for $15 million. That's all they had to pay. And that price, $15 million, is going to come in later on because, as I explained, the areas that, most often people think about the Louisiana Purchase to include Louisiana. No. The Louisiana Purchase included a landmass that was two provinces, two Canadian provinces, and 15 states, of which I'm not going to name them all: Arkansas, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska, a large portion of North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado. All these states were acquired through the Louisiana Purchase. You would then think that America would be our best allies, but that's not what happened, because the minute we claimed our independence, all of the European nations, along with America, set an embargo against Haiti. They would not trade with us. And how many countries can survive without trade? Without trade, especially a small country such as ours. So basically, we managed as best as we could until 1825, when the French came. They went home with their tails between their legs, but they came back and muscled up, and they came back with a fleet of warship, and basically circled our island, and they told us we had two choices: either to pay, I forgot that word, but it'll come to me, reparations. The dirty word that we in America ask, that's a very dirty word that no one wants to talk about. But now the French then wanted reparation because they wanted to be compensated for the former slave owners wanted to be recompensated because they had lost the island and they had lost their source of income. Now they gave us two options, two ultimatums: either be conquered again and be made slaves again, or we could pay them 100 million francs. And the 100 million francs at that time is an equivalent of about $21 billion. So thus, Haiti's poverty stopped. That's when Haiti poverty started. And so we decided to pay. We had no option, no allies. And I want to interject here something a little bit. I know that we as Black folks are a very individualistic type of people, because you could see that Europe has a formation of different countries that come together and form a group. But Africa is still not a union. They're individual countries. Jamaica is there, Haiti's there, but there's no relationship saying, hey, I got your back. If they attack you, we don't have that. If anything happens to Canada, you better believe the United States is going to support them. Anything happened to Israel? Oh, please. Please, So which country can we say that's majority Black, that we can say that, hey, if the French come back and they're trying to mess with you, we're gonna go down with you? We don't. I don't know how my accent is coming out. When I get excited, I lose it. because this is one of the things that causes us to be how we are today. There's no union. There's no union between the different countries, even though we are all Black from the same origin. And this is the thing that really troubles me at times. So we decided to pay it. And so by paying that money, our economy never survived. We were always in the red, because not only that we had to grow different products to feed and maintain ourselves, but the lion's share had to go towards that debt that we paid, $21 billion. Can you imagine that?
No, what's the, do we, like how far in? I mean, like, there's no end. Is this like an infinite debt or what?
No, 1 second. Go ahead and check out. You're good. Thank you. I'm sorry, I'm at work.
This is a never-ending debt, correct?
Yeah, no, we finished paying it in 1945, I think, either 40 or 45. But guess what happened? What happened? And so now we're going along paying the debt. So the US came to us in 1910 and said, we want to give you a loan to help you finish paying this debt. But that was a setup, because once we defaulted on their loan, then they came in 1915 and took over the island. And so the president at the time, I don't remember his name.
Was it Doc?
Wilson. No?
Yeah, President
Wilson.
Came in with the Marines. First thing they did was they removed, they didn't say stole, they removed 500,000 from the National Bank of Haiti and took it to New York for safekeeping. Then they brought in Citibank to help themselves retrieve their money and to help France collect the rest of their money. And so that is the major event I wanted to bring you up to date on. That is why Haiti, they keep saying, is the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere, but they never say why.
Yep.
So really, most people think that's because we're lazy, we're sitting down and waiting for a handout. We eat watermelon and go to sleep, whatever way they want to.
Don't forget voodoo.
Yeah. And because we worshiping the devil or whatever. But don't take me there, because I did some research that blew me away. Anyway, Nadine, why don't you come in now, please?
Yes. It is, and thank you, Edouard, for this summary of our history. It is very important for people to know exactly why Haiti is in the situation where it is. It is no fault of character of the Haitian people. It is really a concerted effort by the great powers to keep Haiti in the position that it is. And again, Edouard spoke about how in the United States, having gained its independence, you would think would support another country that gained its independence. However, Haiti was a threat to the way of the economic way of life, which was through slave labor for these great powers. And Haiti's policy was, no matter where you come from, again, you set foot on Haitian soil, you are free, and we will fight for you. And again, Haiti also helped Latin America gain its independence. So the Venezuelan flag was actually designed in Haiti. So when you think about how Haiti did not get support from other countries, but Haiti lended a hand to other countries. Now, I'm going to talk more about us as a people. We are portrayed as a group of people who are violent. You hear of a lot of protests in Haiti. It's more of an environment. It's more a question of environment. rather than who we are as a people. Actually, if you are, and I don't know if people who have gone to Haiti, they are open to speaking about that. We are a peaceful people. We are loving people. We are very strong. We are very welcoming. And that is what is hidden from the outside world. Because if people knew how beautiful Haiti was, if people knew how the Haitian people were, and the focus wasn't placed on the negative, and there's a reason for all of that negative. There's a reason for all of the political, social, economic turmoil in Haiti, because it helps the big powers stay in power, because Haiti continues to remain a threat to imperial powers. So if the beauty of the country was highlighted, more people would visit Haiti, and it would certainly help with the economy of the country through tourism, just like many other countries in the Caribbean. And I can speak of, I was born and raised in Haiti. I came to the United States when I was almost 17 years old. And I had the opportunity to observe the decline of the country. In 1991, the U.S. invaded Haiti again. They ousted our democratically elected president, Aristide. It didn't matter whether or not he was liked, but he was the democratically elected president. He was ousted by the United States, and they invaded the country. I do remember the soldiers coming in, and I remember the changes that occurred in the country as a result. The army bases, the increase in prostitution as a result, like around the army bases, and that's something that people do not talk about, like how people were taken advantage of. And again, you can see what happened after the earthquake in 2010. What happened? You had people coming in from I think MINUSA, right? I don't recall what the acronym stands for, but the UN, they brought in cholera into the country and again, that's by not observing the proper hygiene codes and dumping in. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Natasha. And that's dumping fecal matters into a river, polluting our rivers and causing the cholera epidemic. So this is something that, again, I don't believe that the UN, well, Cleo, you mentioned Blood in 8. And this is something that, these are things that people don't actually speak about. So in terms of the social aspect, once you land in Haiti, you will feel welcome. It's a different place. You have to, and the reason why it's not any different than any other country, but the warmth of our ancestors, we still have the spirit of our ancestors. And I did go to Haiti in 2012 with a delegation from my law school. Seton Hall has a sister law school in Haiti, and there was a small delegation of students and professors who went to Haiti, and they automatically landed in Haiti, and their minds changed as to what the country would be like, as to who the people really, really are. So one of the purpose of this talk really is to mention that, so that people are not afraid of Haiti, and to see that there's another side of the country that you don't hear about.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up that you were there until you were 17, and when you went back. Edouard, when did you leave Haiti, and when is the last time that you were there? You're on mute. You're on mute. Unmute yourself.
I left in 1967, and my parents retired there in the early 80s. So I've been going there at least every year, sometime twice a year. But the last time I was there was in 2019.
Before the pandemic, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I see my friend, Josette, you're on this call. Did you want to speak? I'm calling you out. I don't know if you want to, but I didn't even think of her. She and I became friends when I lived down in Florida, but we'll bring her into the conversation too. I don't see her right now, but we'll grab her.
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Good afternoon, everyone. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Hi.
You go
Great,
to Haiti
thanks.
pretty regularly, don't you?
Yes, I do. I still travel back and forth. The last time I was there was actually back in December of 2020. And I definitely agree with both speakers in regards to how Haiti has suffered a lot, and how Haiti is a very rich country. I was just actually typing in the chat about the earthquake that happened, unfortunately, on my birthday, January 12, 2010, and how when it was mentioned that cholera would come into the country, and as a clinician, I kept stating to people that cholera is not a malady or a sickness/disease of this area, and that it's more so from Nepal. Finally, years later, Nepal has apologized for coming into the country, doing what the other two panelists stated, dumping feces in the water and so forth and so on. So, growing up, I was not born in Haiti, although I was born in New York, but my first language is Creole. My parents came here in the 60s and 70s. I will say that growing up as a Haitian in Miami was very difficult. And to see how people continue to drag our country, it's very, very, disheartening or whatnot. So I appreciate this session that you're doing, Helen. And that's really all I have to say.
Okay, we'll bring you back in because we should also talk about the difference between arriving here in this country as in Florida, let's say, as a Haitian as opposed to Cuban, and how that's still happening. But anyway, I'm going to get out. Go ahead, Edouard and Narline. I'm handing it back over to you.
And Eloi, if you don't mind, I will continue speaking
please, please.
Okay. Now, Edouard mentioned the economic issues that Haiti has faced. How pretty much it was a concerted effort between France, the United States, Canada, England, and Germany to destabilize and maintain Haiti in a stabilized state economically. And when you are in a situation where economic, and we see this happening throughout here in the United States, in many of our cities. Once people are living in an impoverished state, they don't have any much control economically over their lives. They turn to other means of gaining control economically, and you see that happening in Haiti. And unfortunately, talking about the social aspect, kidnappings have started becoming very prevalent in Haiti as a way for people to make money. There's a rise in gang activity, which again, this is not something growing up in Haiti. We did not have gangs. All of these are imported from. It's sort of like a cultural importation from the United States in a sense. Now you have like different gangs, and like there's like the gangs. Those gangs or even have connections to gangs in the United States, Haitian gangs in the United States. So one when Helen, when you called me when you talked to me about this call, you asked me if I knew of any Black Americans who immigrated to Haiti. And I told you that is not common. It is not, what is more common, I'm not saying that it's never happened. You would have people who go to Haiti on mission trips. Black people will go for mission trips, and that's pretty much it. But what you will see is more common is white Americans or white Europeans who actually immigrate to Haiti, and they go there and they retire. Because unfortunately, the environment that is created in Haiti makes it easier for them to live there and thrive and retire and survive than it is for Black people.
Horrible.
Which is very unfortunate. So, and again,
Up
you
as a
don't
savior. And they get to show up as the white savior.
Yeah, and you don't hear of like Haiti as a vacation spot, right? You don't hear of it. But guess who went to Haiti to honeymoon? The Clinton. They honeymooned in Haiti. Yes, and then they also maintain ties in Haiti. You have the Clinton Foundation that is supposed to be there to for humanitarian purposes to help Haiti, especially during the earthquake. But unfortunately, we have not seen that help really being fulfilled. So yeah, so this is again, I think it is unfortunate that we are in that situation. And I have my friends in Haiti who live in Haiti, and hopefully in the future we can have a call with people who are actually living in Haiti, or they can talk to us. But when I moved to the United States, I was a teenager, so I just started going out with my friends. So I don't know much about the nightlife. But when I returned in 2012 for a friend's wedding, we did go out at night. We went to clubs, we went to lounges, and we stayed out not too late. But things were not as bad as how they are currently. And now I was speaking with my friend last week, and she said that, oh, I don't go out anymore. After work, I just come home, and that's it. And me and my friends, we just communicate via Zoom, and that's pretty much it. And again, with every single facet of the Haitian government or social life of Haiti has been corrupted. So you have economically, we are destabilized. That affects how socially how the country is, and our judicial system itself is affected. Yeah, very corrupted. And actually, my desire to become an attorney came from one of my favorite journalists in Haiti who was assassinated. I believe he was assassinated in 2000, I believe. And yeah, I believe it was in 2000, 2001. Maybe, yeah. Anyway, and he's, the day that he was assassinated, he was going to reveal corruptions by the government. And I would say in a sort of like a full circle type of situation, when I returned to Haiti with the delegation from my law school, I ended up meeting his daughter, and I returned in 2012. I met his daughter, and I broke down crying. I was like, your father is the reason why I decided to go to law school. And I asked her, what is going on? And she said, the investigation is still ongoing. Years and years later, a prominent figure and in the country, well-respected journalist, who he wasn't just a journalist. He was he was a champion of the people. He was an agronomist. He really believed in power, like in empowering the people, empowering the farmers, the small landowners. He cared very much about agriculture, and still no justice has been done, because again, the judicial system is corrupted, and the situation in Haiti has become a situation where the people who are in power, they are there to benefit themselves, even if they go in with good intentions, they become corrupted, and we can see that happening. We can see that happening in our country here, right, in the United States, right? It's like, oh, I believe in this candidate, and they but when they are in power, what they promised, what we expected them to do, that is not what they do. So the same thing happens, but because of the smaller scale of the country, everything is everything that happens is magnified, rather. So at this time, I'm just gonna turn it over to Edouard. I don't know if you want to talk now about make the political connections.
Sure. Unless people have questions.
And share with us what you have about your. We can look at some of the questions in the chat. Narline, if you want to screen them while we can. I see somebody asked, what was the name of the reporter? Somebody asked, is there an organized gang that's doing the kidnapping?
I can cover some of that,
Okay.
but the name of the reporter was Jean Dominique, and Jonathan Demme made a documentary about him called The Agronomist. It's still out probably in most libraries that you can pick up. It's a very interesting and informative documentary. I was partially involved with that. So when Narline mentioned him, I saw it was like a connection between us. I said, yeah, I know, I met him, you know, he was here on my campus for a while. And so the key word that Narline used is corrupt. There are two ways in Haiti to make money, make serious money. You are either part of the network of families who have monopolized Haiti, which means that if they have a chain of supermarkets, you cannot go and open one yourself unless you go to them and get permission to do it, or else your products will be sitting out and you will not be able to get them out of custom, and you will lose your stuff because they also control custom. So it's like here, businesses controls the politics of the United States. You know, so I'll give you an example. Every time the Republicans get into power, the first thing they give big businesses a tax cut, a tax break. And every time the Democrats come into power, now they're trying to reverse that so there could be ample money for the little people. And now that we see the current president has two members of his party who are opposing him, so he's not successful in doing infrastructure for the country as well. That would help even the people who are not on his side. So it's the same thing in Haiti. In order to run for a political position, you have to have financial support. And financial support comes from the very rich. And once you get into office, then you have to do what they tell you to do, or else they will get you out of office. Even the country's budget, when it's being discussed in the government and the Senate, after they discuss it, it goes to those families that look over it and make changes to it. That's how deep it is. And so Haiti doesn't have any gun stores. There's no, the US has a embargo against Haiti. We can't buy arms. And the only way that we can is through the government to buy, and that shut down our military. when Aristide came back. And so all we have is a very weak police force. And the only way we get guns and ammunition is for the president to send out a request that he needs certain amount of weapons for his police force. So I've been trying that for the past 6 years, trying to get a gun in Haiti. I even went here in New Jersey, I trained, so I knew what I was doing. When I went to Haiti, there was nowhere that I could get one in Haiti, unless I purchased in the black market. But then everyone tells me don't do it, because if someone had already used that weapon for a crime, and here you are defending your home with that weapon, and they run a ballistic on it and they see that it was used for a crime, I'm the one who gets punished for it. I go to jail. So it's a very strict situation. So now you wonder, how do these gang leaders get Uzis, M16, AK-47s, and they're out in the streets with it, and everybody knows that they have it. So how do they get these weapons? If there's no one in Haiti licensed to sell weapons, how do they get it? So that's a big question, and I'm not going to assume to know, but you can make up your own mind who has control of what comes in and goes out of Haiti. And I'm going to jump around a little bit, because I'm going to pick up on Narline's assassination of Jean-Dominique. It's the same reason why the past president was assassinated. He knew all the families who were running drugs in Haiti, and he had shut down a lot of contracts of different families. One family was getting paid $12 million US dollars a month to provide electricity. Now, I live right in the city. I never had electricity. I'm lucky if I could get it twice a week. So I have to have a generator, an inverter, and now I'm looking at solar panel when things get better, that I can go back. And so once he cut that contract, they got upset at him. He also cut the contract for oil, for gas, because the government was not in control of any price or of determining the price for gas in Haiti. They had open market, they could do whatever they want. And when he put a stop to that, they were also upset. Now, I have a list here that I pulled up, and I'm gonna just name a few people. It's public information. It's not anything that the richest people in Haiti, and the 60% of the Haitian population is living in poverty. Really, really poverty. Right now, there's a demonstration for workers because they're getting paid, I think, 500 goods a day, and they want to increase it to 1,500 goods. I don't know how to translate that in American dollars.
I will.
Which means that part of the deal was that most of those manufacturers were supposed to build homes and have a cafeteria for their workers, so they didn't have to leave the factory and pay for transportation to go home, pay for lunch outside, and do it. So there's no way that they can survive with that. So I think it's $250 they're asking for a month, or I'm not sure. But they're now protesting it. And so before I finish my presentation, I want to talk about this list with you guys. The first person on the list is Dennis O'Brien. His net worth is $6.8 billion. He is the person who runs the largest telecom company in Haiti called Judicial. Judicial is also in Africa. It's in Dominican Republic. It's in Jamaica. It's in most of the islands. $6.8 billion. That money he made in Haiti. The number two person is Gilbert Biggio. Net worth $1.2 billion. He's a businessman and he has a consulting group. And he is also the second richest person in Haiti. And I think he is also, his house is also a, what do you call that? An embassy representing Israel. So this person here, you can't even search him. And if he commits a crime, you just have to send him back to his country because he's a representative of that government. The third person is Gregory Meurs, net worth $1 billion. And so, I mean, you know, with that kind of money that those people have, so politicians have no recourse, presidents have no recourse, because they have lobbyists here in the United States who then protects them. And so whenever the people revolt in Haiti, the American government send troops in to protect them. And so it's almost as if it's a no-win situation for the Haitian people. And I wrote a word here that I want to touch on, and it's also had something to do with what Narline said. We were a threat for America and for Europe because Americans were saying, wow, if we allow these slaves to flourish, okay, if we allow these slaves to flourish in Haiti, our slaves are going to begin to revolt and think that they can be free as well. And at the time, America was deeply invested in slavery. And so the word that I want to share with you is that Haiti is to be punished forever. They want us to be an example of what happens when you little darkies think you can revolt and run a country yourself. We're going to show you that you're going to pay for that for the rest of the existence of that country. And that's what I had to share with you guys. And by the way, the list is longer. I didn't go to the millionaires. I only stayed in the billions.
Narline, did you find, oh, you put it in there, 500 Haitian group. What does it say, Natasha? So they're looking for 500, you say gourds or goods?
Good.
At a
Yeah,
daily,
500.
at a daily compensation that they get, or is that the compensation they get daily, or how is that coming, Edouard?
Let me hear how much it's worth first.
It's 500 Haitian goods is like $4.80 something cents American.
That's what they're getting a day. Not enough for them to survive, especially if you have a family. Or even if you're, if you're responsible for yourself, $5. Well, let's round it out to $5 a day. By the time you get into a top, which is an open door transportation pickup, you pay for that going to work. Then you have to eat lunch. Then you have to take transportation to go back home. So what do you come home with, really?
And
so that's outrageous. Narline, go ahead.
The money system in Haiti. So we have the good and we have the Haitian dollars. So this is further. So 500 Haitian goods is really 10. It's 500 Haitian goods rather is $50 Haitian dollars. So let's say you're like it when you think of it in terms of dollars, it's easier to see what the let's say, for example, it costs you to take a taxi, and I haven't taken a taxi in a long time in Haiti, or top in a long time, but let's say it costs you $10 to go downtown, right? Like so $10 to go and then $10 back. That's already out of your $50, which is the 500 goods. You have $30 left. So money for food and like you honestly, you just cannot live on this. And someone asked me, what can 500 goods would be 50 Haitian dollars get you? I don't know. Unfortunately, I don't know. And hopefully, I don't know if there's someone who's been to Haiti more recently than me who can answer that question, but I don't know. And so Natasha said that Haiti operates in US dollars. Yes. So the last time I went to Haiti, I was able to use the US US dollars, and of course I used my Visa when I was there. I did not exchange money because I mostly relied on using my Visa, but again, although it operates in Haitian, we do accept American dollars, but the prices are not what they are. They're not comparable to what they are, given like the cost, the living, what people are earning, and the cost of goods. It's not, and we are importing most of our goods. And again, this is, I don't want to, I feel like there probably should be another call about Haiti, Helen, because again, it's a concerted effort, but, and I know that we keep saying it, it's not a question. Yes, there is responsibility that the people have to take, but the powers that be, they're too strong for the people to overcome. So we don't know exactly how we can help Haiti get out of the situation where it is. I don't know, Edouard, if you have any ideas, but
Big Brother can, but they choose not to.
Yeah.
Big Brother can definitely.
Big Brother is benefiting from that, because when you have a small group of elites who are actually running the country, where you have a president who he's propped up, and then he's not supported again anymore once he decides that he wants to do something. Yeah, he wants to do something that supports, and we've seen that happen in so many countries. Wants to do something that supports the people, for the people. Guess what? It's easy for him to be assassinated and kill him, and it's just ridiculous. Whether or not you support a person, but there has, you have to respect the will of the people. You have to respect the Constitution. And again, talking about the judicial, there's someone who's not muted.
Somebody's typing. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I can't. Yeah.
So,
So
I'm sorry. That was me. I just had to ask a question, please.
Okay.
Please.
Yeah.
What
You have
elements?
to mute your phone while you're typing the question, please.
Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you.
Okay. Narline.
So now, you anyway. So yes, with the I believe I was talking about the judicial.
You were saying that they're profiting the powers.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly. So you see, and another example of it is, if you remember the earthquake, people donated a lot of money. And do you know where that money went? That money came right back to the United States. Right back to the United States. So in the forms of like the NGOs buying American cars while they are in Haiti, they are buying American cars because they need like the best cars to ride around and whatever other thing that they need. So that money really came back. Most of it came back to the United States. So when you have a situation where you have a small group of people, and a lot of the it's I don't know, Edouard, if you know much about this, but a lot of the big families, the rich families in Haiti, they are like either of Haitians of Syrian descent, Haitians of Italian descent,
Lebanese descent.
Lebanese descent. So,
and they all made their money
Brian,
in Haiti.
that sounds very Irish.
Yeah. The richest person is Irish. But he came in to do business, and but the others have so much. They suppress the country. I'll give you one example. When I began the presentation, I said that Haiti was one of the richest islands because we produce 40% of the world's sugar. Now, what happened is that one of those families came in and purchased the sugar factory, and they fired everyone who was working there. Fired, let go. So now what they're doing, they are importing sugar from the Dominican Republic. So they did that for cement. They did that for farine. How do you say farine?
Flour.
Flour.
Flour. Yeah, Flour. I'm spelling it because of my accent.
Yeah, they
flour.
did that
Yeah.
for flour. And so Haiti is no longer producing anything. We don't produce anything. So everything so the very rich are now, they're reselling things to us as opposed to we're growing food or we export. I think the only thing I think we export two things: arts and mangoes. There could be some other stuff, but I'm not sure. Those are the two that I know about. We export our art and we export mangoes. There could be others. I'm not sure.
Like Josette is saying,
Coffee.
rice. Do you guys export rice as
And
well?
coffee.
No,
We used to. We
import
used to.
rice.
Yeah. We used to export rice. There are so many things that we used to export that we don't anymore. And again, it's not that we no longer were interested in exporting these goods. It's just that there were like specific campaigns put together to pretty much destroy our ability to produce these goods. So it was a matter of like, let's find a way to get them to forego of what they have naturally at home, that they produce at home, through various means, maybe propaganda that there were like, I think there was, I can recall vaguely, and I don't know, Edouard, you probably will remember this better than me, but I recall vaguely some issue with like the pigs in Haiti.
Pigs,
there was, yeah.
We had black pigs in Haiti.
Yeah.
And you could, if you peel a banana, you could give them the banana peel. If whatever other food that you're eating, the pigs would eat it. So they came and killed all our black pigs and brought us the white pigs. But the white pigs will not eat anything that we have or the farmers had. We had to buy feed for them from the United States, and the farmers couldn't afford it. They couldn't afford it. So they're for certain, like diapers. I remember when I was born, we had the cloth diapers with the pins that but they brought the other thing for babies also, Similac, all those things. We didn't need those. Babies were breastfed in Haiti. I was breastfed. I lived, I survived.
Talk a little bit, Edouard, about growing up in Haiti. I mean, because you were there for formative years. You were educated there, right?
Yes, partially till I was 12.
Oh, okay. You left early.
Growing up in Haiti I had a wonderful childhood. Oh man, it was like a village, Everyone in my neighborhood knew me. The doctor was Haitian, Black Haitian, the lawyer, the clothes maker. All our clothes were made by a tailor or seamstress. And so I think the only thing that we bought out was shoes, but then again, there were shoe repair people who would repair your shoes. And so the country was safe. On Sunday afternoon, my parents would dress us up. We would go to the center of the city and buy ice cream and meet with our friends and ride bicycles. So it was a wonderful childhood. I mean, on Sundays we'd go on trips to different beaches, to different rivers and swim and cook food and stuff. It's a tragedy for me to see what Haiti has become. And over the years, I've seen it deteriorate even more to the point now it's so horrible that people are leaving in droves. And I think that's also a plan that they have. They want us to leave that piece of land so they can come back and take it, because it's rich. It's rich in oil. It's rich in gold. There's another, they make aluminum paper, borax or something like that. And then the phone chips, they found that the stuff that they used to make the chips for the phone, they found that we have that too in Haiti.
Yeah.
There are two companies now digging for gold in Haiti, one Canadian and one American. And Hillary's brother is on the board of one of them.
Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the other side of Haiti that they don't want you to know. They don't, and unfortunately, people who are in Haiti themselves either don't know it or they are powerless. There's not much they can do. And also in preparing for this presentation and speaking with Edouard, I was talking about my childhood too. Although I was born 2 years before Papa Doc, a baby Doc left. And I do recall, like, one of my earliest memories is hearing gunshots from Totomacoud, but I had a happy childhood too. Like I mentioned to Edouard, like on Christmas Day, we would go to the beach and we'll just like get in the car, drive out to the beach, or just like stop on the way, like pick up like, my dad, he had like a big truck. So we'll like pick up family and friends and we'll all go to the beach. And fishermen would catch their catch of the day. They would like sell it to us. Like as we were at the beach, they come, they were like, oh, do you want fish? We're gonna cook it for you. Like right then and there that's the beauty of Haiti. And that's the beauty that students got to experience. Like the students from the law school and professors, they got to experience. Like one example is they wanted to actually have some coconut water, and they, as we were walking in the neighborhood, and I saw a guy. I was like, hey, do you guys have coconut? Like they were like, yeah, when are you guys coming back? Because we'll have them ready for you. And then the students were like, okay, how much is that going to cost us? And they were like, oh no worries, it's right there. We're just going to climb the tree, grab the coconuts. So that's what they did, and they got to, and it was different for them, like drinking the coconut straight, the water straight from the coconut, not using a straw. But I had to teach them how to like cock their heads back, drink it the right. And then also another thing that they did not understand is that the inside, the actual fruit, the inside of the coconut, you can actually eat that, So these are beautiful memories. Like I grew up with almonds are so expensive here. I grew up with an almond tree right in front of my house, and I grew up with like so many mango trees. So it was so many things. Like we had like banana trees in our yard. Like it was just crazy. Like we did not have to buy limes and lemons and cherries and oranges. We could just go straight to our trees and take those fruits. So yeah, I miss that. I miss that. I cannot go back and enjoy these the fruits of my country without thinking about whether or not there could be a kidnapping. And I know where all of that comes from. I know, and another thing that is interesting, it was revealed that someone asked about gangs. Like in the chat, I saw a question regarding the gangs. Are they organized? And really, so the kidnappings, a lot of kidnappings were occurring, and it was discovered that one of the big families, one of the rich, was behind that operation. So you're thinking it's like little fringe of operations, but no. When they followed the trail all the way through, it was like one of the big families. But guess what? Nothing happened. Nothing could happen. Nothing. That person cannot be touched because, hey, that person works for Big Brother, and Big Brother is making money. They are making money together. So that's it.
Wow. What about you, Edouard? You want to share some of your memories from growing up there?
I can share some of my memories when I've gone back as an adult. Maybe we should let people ask questions.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, let's do
Yeah.
that. We can bring folks in. Cleo, I'm sure that you want
I
to,
have some comments. Yes.
okay, you're breaking up, Cleo,
Yeah, your audio.
on film.
Can I talk now?
Yes,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Am I breaking up?
Go ahead, keep talking, I'll let you know.
Oh, I have a lot to say on this issue,
Go
but I
ahead.
want to make sure I'm not breaking up first.
Okay, we're hearing you. Go ahead.
Okay, well, I've been to Haiti a number of times. I went right before COVID. I
Mhm.
spent in Port-au-Prince, in Cape Haitian, and Pétionville, and different parts of the country. As they said, the people are warm, they're kind. Even today, I'm glad to say to the sister that I went to the ocean and we had seafood that they were willing to cook for us for nothing and enjoy it with us. And that kind of culture still occurs. And I've traveled all over the world, and I've always wanted to go to Haiti, and I consider it sacred land. I think that Haiti should be our Israel, without the exploitation, of course, of the indigenous people. African people should honor and lift Haiti up as a equivalent to Israel for Black people all over the world. And one reason that we don't do that, because we don't even know the history. And also a lot of Haitians don't know the history. I've had to teach a lot of Haitians their own history. Even in Florida, I've had to teach Haitians their own history. They ride in Ubers, and they got the white Jesus because a lot of Catholicism, because I'm sure they know a lot of white Jesus Catholicism have invaded their consciousness. It's all over the Uber, but they don't Haiti. I just wanted to talk real quickly about some of the parallels. Edouard, how do I say your name? I want to say your name properly.
Edouard.
Edouard. Is that right?
That's correct.
Edouard. The brother mentioned that there was corruption, and that when there's a crisis in Haiti or in other parts of the African world, we don't come to help each other. You said something along those lines, right? And I think it's important to understand that Black people are a perpetual target of white supremacy mythology. You know about Napoleon's quote in terms of what he said. I'm gonna read his quote. It is really short. He says, "My decision to destroy the authority of the Blacks in Haiti is not so much based on considerations of commerce and money, as on the need to mark forever the march of Blacks in the world." And the reason I mention that is because you've heard of Patrice Lumumba, right?
Yeah.
We all familiar with Patrice Lumumba? Patrice Lumumba, and there's been several others, successfully reduced the conflict between and control their own resources and stop being exploited by white supremacists. And then the president, Eisenhower, along with Europe, had him murdered. These corrupt governments, countries are not independently corrupt. They're instigated into corruption. They're encouraged into corruption. They make sure they create a infrastructure that will leave everybody Black unstable, crazy. And I think it's important to understand that even when we're trying, we still are contaminated by white supremacy ways of thinking and religion and points of view. Into Henri Christophe's palace and to the Citadel, which a lot of African Americans knew nothing about. And I'm a scholar of African history. Until I went to Haiti, I knew nothing about the Citadel. I was blown away. I cried for the first hour when I said, what? These Africans built this? And we know nothing about it. It's like one of the wonders that we know nothing about it, and that we don't know nothing about it. It's intentional. Mm-hmm. So the corruption is not independent Haitian or African corruption. It's traumatized people who are white enough to be allowed to be, or who are capitalistic enough and self-centered enough to be allowed to be in power in these countries so they can perpetuate the oppression and get some goodies, if you will, from the oppressor, like Mobutu. I don't know if everybody remembers Mobutu, but Mobutu was the person who stepped in after they murdered Lumumba. And he was a low-down, dirty dog who had billions, more money than the people that you've already articulated in terms of these rich people in Haiti, and then give the people nothing. Walk past the impoverished communities, chalet in France. Well, what's missing from that narrative is that killing. And that's what happens in some of these countries, and most of them that are colonial vestiges that white people used to run. They put people in power like they've done in Iraq after Sasol. And then the people in the country who don't know the history blame it on the Iraqis, not knowing that there's a Western puppeteer who's running all of it. But getting back to solutions, a solution would be, part of the solution is mental. We have to be able to teach our children and remember that white supremacy mythology is evil, insidious, omnipresent system. We should
You're
start teaching our
Cleo.
kids to adapt to and to join. It's one thing to just
Cleo, your bandwidth is going in and out. Try turning off your camera. Maybe it will stop taking. We hear what you're saying, but sometimes you're okay. Go ahead.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Okay. We have to learn to value our history and teach it, like the Jews say, and some people get mad at me for bringing this up, but I think it's strategically relevant. The Jews say never again. And they actively, when their child is born up to adulthood, teach them very directly and methodically about the oppression that they experience, with the goal of not demoralizing their children or paralyzing them, but to arm them so they will have a never again consciousness. And as a result of them having a global never again consciousness, you can't go nowhere and mess with Jews. However, where Jews are from, particularly white Jews, are not places where Europeans and whites have any mineral needs. You just got finished talking about the gold in Haiti and the barbarian in Haiti, which it helps to turn on cell phones, et cetera. Well, they haven't taken over China and other places like that historically because the minerals and things they needed to make their countries wealthy was not there. They happen to be where we are. That's why they killed Patrice Lumumba. That's why they killed Jean Dominique. And another parallel that I think is important to remember is that you've heard of Black Wall Street, United States, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, there's several, just like Haiti was independently operating by Africans and doing well, and then it was sabotaged. There's several examples in the States of Black people of African descent coming together, successfully viable communities, and they literally murdered people and burned them down all over this country. But one of the things that we need to do in terms of solutions is teach our children history and teach them to be defensive in terms of the capacity of white supremacy agendas to come in and compromise us. I'll close with this because I can go on and on and on and on, because I've been to Haiti, and as I said, I consider it sacred land. I feel very honored when I'm there, when I'm in the presence of some of the most powerful independent fighters that ever came out of Africa. And I consider you two, it's honor to speak to you both. I'm not BS. To me, you're come out of.
You got a bad connection. Your connection's going again. Cleo, your connection is leaving you again. It's going in and out. Cleo.
So I would like to,
Okay.
Ellen, I would like to take as many questions as we could because my time is coming up shortly.
Okay. Hang on, Cleo.
But, you know, we could have another conversation about this. I think Narline is correct, because there's so many areas that I had planned to touch on that I really didn't get a chance to do. And it probably would not have been appropriate either for what we're talking about now.
Yeah, we've got someone in the chat is also saying the same thing, that we need to have another conversation on this. I know, Judy, you were trying to speak earlier. Vicky, you had your hand up. Carolyn, so let me do Vicky, Judy, and Carolyn.
Okay.
Helena, I got my question answered.
Okay, thank you. Vicky, are you still having a question, or are you okay? Okay. All
I'm
right.
sorry, I'm okay. I got my question answered. I looked through the chat and I saw that it was answered, so thank you.
Okay. All right, so I don't see any hands up. Does anybody have a question that they want to pose to our guests? Anything?
Carolyn has a hand up.
All right, go
Yeah.
ahead. I don't see the hands, but go ahead.
But she's muted.
Who are we trying to?
Could I just ask, can you
Yes.
hear me?
Yes, now we can.
Is there anything that we could do in this country to start something? I remember one time, I'm old enough to remember one time, it looked almost impossible for South Africa to turn around. Even if you look at Germany, it looked at one time impossible. Is there anything you think we can do to start making folks in Washington aware that we're aware of Haiti?
I think one of the things that I think that we can do is start writing to the Black Caucus, because they're not responsive at all to our cause. And I think, and prior to this meeting, I mean, about approximately 3 years ago, I sat with Ellen and I said, Ellen, I want to open Haiti to African Americans. I said, I want to encourage every African American living in the United States to get a passport and to save, put $2,000 cash somewhere, because when it hits the fan here, we're going to be the one to blame. They're going to come after us, because anytime the economy goes bad or something happens, they have to find, what do you call that?
Scapegoat.
Yeah. So I'm saying I want to open to all my brothers and sisters, because then there's I want to build a community for everybody to come relax and hang out. We're 3 hours away. And if you're leaving from Miami or Fort Lauderdale, you're an hour and 15 minute flight. Can you believe this? And I want you guys to start businesses there and grow and get rich, as opposed to these people who are not even Haitians, you know?
Yeah. Well, that's a thought.
So writing, I think we should start a letter writing, what do you call it? Agenda to the Black Caucus about Haiti. What are you guys gonna do? We hear the situation, you know, and if I don't know, Ellen, if you want to research the addresses and how we proceed, I think that would be a good way to, not the only way, but one way to start. Go ahead, Narvin.
And I was gonna say, on an individual level, what I think people should do, like people here, is educate yourself, educate yourself, educate yourself. Not go by the narrative, like the mainstream narrative, the propaganda. Truly learn about the history of Haiti, because in learning about the history of Haiti and the history of other African nations also, you will understand the pattern. You will understand the reasons why the country is in the situation where it is, and you will understand. Also, it mirrors the history of Black Americans in the United States. So education is key, I think. And once you are educated, you know what you're talking about. You won't be able to decipher the true the true narrative from all of the BS that is put out there, because they'll have you. they'll have you believe that you're not, you're small people, or you're not good enough. There's something inherently wrong with who you are, with your people, when in reality that is not the case. That is not the case.
What is the
Hello?
what is the impact of that narrative? What is the impact
Yeah,
of that?
hello. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go on. I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh, yeah. Hi. Thank you so much for this presentation. My name is Lola. I just wanted to point out that as I was listening to both of you talking about your childhood, it could have been my childhood in Nigeria. And when I hear, you know, and my son and I were talking about Haiti this morning, who's listening to a Nigerian program in which they said that the name of the country, that Haiti actually comes from, I don't know how far this is true, but they say it comes from a Yoruba word that's Haiti. They said Haiti became Haiti. And that wasn't difficult for me to believe because I actually know what Haiti would mean in Yoruba, and it would make sense for that to be the name of Haiti. So there's always this connection. Then you look at the corrupt leaders in Nigeria. You're like, what is it about them? Is it because they don't know their history and can't relate to what we are saying right now? Because why would they allow foreigners, white people from wherever they come from, to corrupt them and turn them against their own? I have not been back to Nigeria in several years because I'm afraid to go. They talk about kidnapping. Everything you said about Haiti is happening in Nigeria. And now we have Fulanis going to the southern states and kidnapping and taking over land from Yoruba people. So that's another thing that's going on, that's kind of, you know, some sort of genocide going on. And you don't even hear about it here. No. Because I think the powers that be here really want that to happen. They want all these places to be destroyed. But I agree with what the brother said about us going to Haiti, not just African Americans. I think people from all over, Black people from whatever, should be encouraged to go there. I would be glad to go there. It's closer to me than Nigeria is. I would gladly go to Haiti if I know I'm safe. Okay. That's my main concern about any place, is my safety. That's why I don't go to Nigeria.
I'm working on
it.
So
if there's a way, you know, if there's a way to connect us, I will be the first in line to go to Haiti.
And my sister,
Thank you, Lola.
Lola.
Wait, we have three hands.
I just want to answer real quick.
Go ahead,
The
Edouard.
answer to your question is greed. Greed, because they want to feel as rich as they are to their counterpart. You know, when they see these guys living in mansions and stuff, they say, "Oh, I should be able to do that too." And so, if they're selling a whole a piece of land that costs billions, and they're only giving 40 million for it, that's just for them and their family. They're happy to take the 40 million and don't care about anybody else. So that's greed.
Right. Carolyn, your hand is up. I can't, somebody's asked me to unmute you. I'm not able to do that. Carolyn, can you unmute yourself? I don't know.
She seems to have, because it's not on there anymore, so.
Carolyn, can you speak?
She also put a long thing in the chat, so maybe that's your question.
Linda.
Hi, everyone. Narline, I just wanted to touch base, and when you were talking about the Clintons, for those who don't know, the Clintons family has been in Haiti in the 50s and the 60s, and Harry Clinton, who was President Clinton's uncle, lived in Haiti for many years, and have his son lived in Haiti. And that's how the Clinton was introduced to Haiti, and that's how they went to their honeymoon. And that's why we always said President Clinton has ties in Haiti because of his uncle. And for those who knows as well, President Clinton bought a lot of lands in Haiti. He owns a lot of lands presently in Haiti. So, and for Mrs. Clinton as well, you know, her brother is involved right now in Haiti. So to say that, you know, about the rice as well, it was under President Clinton that the rice industry was destroyed because he allowed the rice from when he was the governor to bring the rice in Haiti and destroy our industry, our rice industry. So for those who doesn't know, I just wanted to clear that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good information. Appreciate it, Linda. Come again. Monine, Monine, you're next.
Right, thank you. My question really had to do with hospitals and medical treatment for those of, I had wanted to go during the earthquake to help, but I thought that I would be more of a hindrance because of some underlying conditions that I have, you know, health-wise. And so that's the question, but I do want to just say two little comments so that you'll know that some of us, you know, have been really active on low key. My first cases were what we call the Haitian boat people during that time who were fleeing Tonton Macoute and successfully, you know, had them to stay in this country. So that was one thing. And then on the Eastern Shore of Maryland, there is a Haitian population that I support and that helped me to organize some goods to be transported to Haiti, you know, during the earthquake. So there are things that we can do, you know, on that level, and that I hope that we can encourage ourselves really as one person at a time to do that. You know, we talk a lot about what the issues are, but I like to find at least one or two things that we can definitely do. But I'd like to know about the medical situation, if you know, the hospitals and any doctors, you know, that we would be able to tap into if we were to go.
I can speak on behalf of some of the hospitals that I know, and few of my brother-in-laws actually own a hospital in Haiti. And I have friends who have organizations that nurses that's been going to Haiti right now to help Haiti. So I can connect and put my email, and I could send you some information.
Oh, I would love to
Those
have.
who are interested.
Okay, thank you.
So that was Linda. I was trying to put you on spotlight, Linda, but now I find you after the fact. So that was Linda. If you want to hook up with her, yeah, you can talk to us about that. Josette, Monine brought up the situation about the Haitian boat lift. You are in Miami. Can you talk a little bit about, or I'm putting you on the spot so you can say no. Can you talk a little bit about what is the Haitian situation in Miami? Josette? Is anybody here who can, oh, Josette is here, but maybe she's not here. Is anybody who can speak about that? I mean, I lived in Miami. That's where I met Josette, and it was in the late 90s. And it was very much that, you know, if as long as a Cuban got a tow, you know, on Key West, they could stay. And a Haitian could get their full body, move into Miami, and they would be deported. Has anything about that changed? What's the situation? I don't know. Just talk to me if you can about being in Miami specifically.
Well, before that happens, I really have to step away. So thank you, everyone, for giving me this opportunity. And I look forward to more of this sort of opportunity because I think something can come out of this. We've outlined the issues. I'd like to talk about solution next time. Narline and I get together, and Norma, I maybe have the wrong name, but she just spoke about the hospital. She seems to know a lot about. I mean, I don't believe that one person can do it. I believe as a group of people of willing heart and willing intentions, we can actually make a difference.
Absolutely.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Everyone.
For your time, Edouard. We'll talk again soon.
All righty.
All right.
Thank you, Edouard.
Thank you, Narline.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Okay. So Narline, you got it from here, girl. I have complete
I'll
confidence.
do my best.
So let's see, we have some questions here. Carolyn Alford, did you have a question?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, no, I just wanted to add on because I have been interested in visiting Haiti for years. I've only known about the bad, all we ever get from the media is how it's not a place where you can vacation. So with that being said, I'm also a teacher and many of my students are from DR. And then those who are from Haiti, they don't really say that they're from Haiti, you know? So yeah, so I say that to say, no, I think it's Narline. I saw you shake your head. So you understand exactly what I'm saying, what happens. Yes. And it's unfortunate. So I did a little bit of history sharing the other day for Black History Month and talked about how Haiti was able to free themselves, et cetera. And it was something to be very proud of. And this is one of the reasons why they appeared where they're in the situation they're in, because of the power that the world kind of refuses to give back to them, because they were so angry that we were able, I'm not from Haiti, but I shared with my students how I use the word we, you know, as people of color, how we were able to, of all the countries in the world, we were able to take back our power. And this doesn't happen. And so of course there's anger. So when I share that with them, it had me thinking as well that I've always wanted to go visit, but I don't know where to go. Whereas I also heard you mentioned earlier, many people are like, okay, what am I going to experience when I get there? Do I have to watch my bag? No one, like DR, everybody tells you exactly where to go, but you don't know. And so I also wanted to add on, not only do we need to be educated on where to go, but also I'm very much interested in uplifting Haiti, very much interested. So if we could start a movement where everyone, I have a podcast for Black men. It's not as big as I plan to make it yet, but we can all take our different social medias and with the help of the group that you put together here, give us some history that is enough to say that everyone has it. Okay, here, this, you can take this, you can take that, you can take that. And then we all post it on our LinkedIns, on our Instagrams, on our TikTok, on our podcasts, on our blogs. And we all post this, and then it goes viral. And then Haiti gets out there. And then people start to say, oh, wait, this is where I can go?
Yeah.
Because we really don't know. And the gentleman was sharing how we don't really stick together.
Yeah.
And so actually a teacher said that to me at work one day. A teacher said to me, and she was not Black, and she said to me, you know, I didn't notice that Black women don't really stick together. She said that to me with a friendly tone, like she was like helping me. And so I was listening to her and I couldn't really respond, because that is what is demonstrated amongst us in some of the workplaces. And that's what is demonstrated in the school that I work in. So I share that to say that we can take this information that this group has, give it to the rest of us, and then let us go share a little bit of history. And this is where I'm going this summer, guys. Anybody else going? And start putting it out the way you do the carnival boat rides and stuff, letting everyone know where to go. So let's share.
I think that's huge. That's a big thing, you know, and I was saying earlier that I went to DR one time, 2010, and I was so hurt by the way the Haitians were treated. And my feeling is if you treat Haitians that way, then by extension, you think the same of me. And I actually wrote a blog about it. It was so devastating that I would not go back to DR. And it's only gotten worse now. So, but what is disturbing to me is while I won't go back to DR, Haitians go to DR. And I'm just trying to understand, like, I don't get that. Like these people treat Haitians really badly. And, you know, we teach people how to treat us. So, you know, yes, it should be a vacation place, but I would think that Haitians, Haitian Americans, Haitian Jamaicans, Haitian Brazil, wherever, if you're outside of Haiti, use the opportunity to go back. And instead of posting all over Facebook your luxurious vacation in Dominican Republic, post your enjoyable time that you're having, because I'm sure, Narline, you know, that there are resorts in Haiti. Yes.
Yes. There are resorts. And I
wait a minute, let Narline answer. Go ahead, Narline.
And I'm going to be brief. I wanted to answer to Carolyn. So, Carolyn, I wanted to, I'm a member of the Association of Black Women Lawyers of New Jersey. And in 2018, we went to Jamaica. We had a retreat in Jamaica. And the next country we wanted to go to was Haiti. And we were hoping to be able to do that in 2020, but we know what happened.
Right.
2020. But in 2019, I wanted to kind of go on a trip to Haiti myself with my family, kind of like to scope out the place, and in order to figure out what would be the best resort to hold the retreat. But unfortunately, because of the instability that was brewing then in Haiti, I had to cancel that trip myself. So it is not so easy for us to really put together a trip to Haiti. And it's something I've been thinking about. I'm really interested in. But interestingly enough, you do have, and my mom watches his videos, there's this white American who organizes trips to Haiti, and he speaks Creole, he loves the country, he's pretty much Haitian himself. And the thing is, it's easier for these white people to make the connections where they can ensure the security.
I heard that, yes.
Of people who participate in the trips that they organize, as opposed to us, blacks and like children of the country to make those to be able to make those connections. So
you know what, that's okay. And that's okay, because if that's how we can get there, then let's get there. You know what I'm saying? And then once we get there, then we can make it our own, you know, and then we can work around that and we can find a way, because we can do anything, you know, once we put our minds to it. And sometimes it's like, you know, it's like when our ancestors were, you know, escaping slavery, oftentimes with the Underground Railroad, we had to go to their house. We had to go to their homes to get to where we need to be. So let's utilize that as a means of getting there, because there's so many of us that want to help. When I saw this email today, I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even read this because I didn't know who this woman was on my email. I don't know how I came into the loop. So when I saw it today, I thought it was junk mail. And then when I read it, I sent it to two of my friends. I think one of them is on here, Miss Waller. She's an author. And I was like, come on, you got to come on. And she was in another Zoom. And I said to her, you got to go. And I think I saw her name. I don't know if
she was here. She was
here. Okay. And then I sent it to an attorney friend as well. She's an attorney and a therapist. I'm like, everybody, come on, let's go. So I think this is very great. I'm glad that you put this out here. And I say, let's go ahead, and you have the connection. You know who we need to go to get there. Let's get there, and then we can take it from there.
Okay.
And let's put the stuff on social media. Give me some more. Give us some more, so we can go post it on our different social medias.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Alford. Please come again. We come every Sunday on different stuff.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Haitian.
Go ahead, Narline. What were you going to say?
I saw a question in the chat. Haitian Independence Day is January 1st. So the first day of the year, that is when we celebrate our independence. We our last major battle was in November 18, Bataille de Vertières, November 18, 1803. That is the last major battle where we defeated Napoleon's army for good. They were not coming back. And
don't mention today of Toussaint. Now, come on. We didn't channel Toussaint at all.
Oh, yeah. We didn't talk about Toussaint Louverture. Yeah. We didn't talk about him. And it's unfortunate that Toussaint Louverture, I find that sometimes Toussaint Louverture is not talked about enough. And Louverture is not his real last name. Louverture means the opening. So his nickname, Toussaint, the opening, because he's the one who pretty much opened the door to our our successful revolution. And Dessalines is the one who solidified the revolution. And so January 1st, and there's a famous squash soup that we eat on January 1st. It's called soup joumou. And it is actually recently, I don't know if I'm gonna see if I can find it and put it in the chat, but recently it has been designated a UNESCO heritage I can't say some heritage is not site. It's not a site, but anyways, something to be preserved or Haitian soup jumeau. It's squash soup, and the slaves were pretty much not allowed to eat that soup when they. It's very healthy, very hearty, and the slaves couldn't eat that soup. It's made with potatoes in it, noodles, like meats, beef, all of that. So yeah, so that's how we celebrate our Independence Day, January 1st, and we eat soup jumeau all day.
Okay.
And Narline?
Last few questions. I'm sorry, I messed up your name. So Mr. Help me.
Toikumo.
Tuku. Hi.
Toikumo. Toikumo.
Toikumo. Okay.
Toikumo. Thank you.
Hi. Where are you calling from?
I'm in Suitland, Maryland, just close to Washington, D.C.
Yes. Mm-hmm. So what's your question?
Thank you for taking my call. I was invited to this meeting by Dr. Akil Kalfani.
Okay.
We all know there's a saying in the African Union that they're trying to invite Israel to become a part of the African Union.
I have seen that.
I'm just want to know, what is the situation of Haiti trying to become a part of the African Union? Is it any go or no situation? Or I'd like to know.
Unfortunately, I cannot speak to that. I wasn't aware of it, and I cannot speak to that. I don't know if anybody else can.
Cleo, do you know if there's any efforts towards making Haiti a part of the African Union? Cleo?
Can you hear me?
Now we can.
There's efforts of doing a lot of things, including that happening in Haiti. However, they're often marginalized by larger agendas, and Black people who are clueless about African struggle and unity often are featured and get a lot of press to outnumber and make more noise than people who are talking about bringing Africans together. But yes, there's all kinds of African unity agendas and people in Haiti. And there's people there who are real clear about everything that's been said here in terms of the Western white agenda to keep them compromised and silent, who resist it. But they are marginalized, including by people who white folks put in power, like they do every place else in the diaspora. They put people in power who they know will have a louder noise and more resources than the Africans who are talking about unity. But yes, there are people in Haiti who believe in coming together with the African Union and who talk about that and actively seek that.
Yeah, I think the brother made a point. Cleo, thank you very much. You can tell by my little accent, I am 100% African. Though I've been to Haiti in the early 1990s, I was there. Still planning to go back again. I love Haiti. Every time I hear about Haiti, I want to
love it too.
I want to learn more and more about Haiti.
Yes.
Like you said earlier, maybe there's efforts trying to get Africans world over to unite. At the same time, the powers that be do not want to see that unity. So they make every effort to make sure Haiti does not become a part of the African Union. But at the same time, they are accepting Israel in the African Union. That's really bothering me to, no, you could never believe how that bothers me. How could Israel become part of the African Union, but Haiti is having a difficulty in trying to become a part of the African Union?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that either. I read that too about Israel. That makes no sense to me. And
I think you do understand it, Helen.
I do. I was going to say there's some yeah.
You understand.
Nothing happens by accident, of course. But I'm disappointed that the African nations are even entertaining that. I must admit. You know, Israel is the only country that did not attend the funeral of Nelson Mandela.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
But we have to work together to try to make sure Haiti becomes a part of the African Union. And we'll do our very best, anything we can do to make sure that happens.
Yeah, thank you.
Toikumo, Sophia.
Where are you from? What country is your home country?
So-called Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay, so like Lola. Okay, great.
So-called Nigeria.
So-called Nigeria.
What should we call it?
We're supposed to be called Oduduwa land. We're supposed to be called Anambra. We're supposed to be called Ijo land, but they call us Nigeria because of the colonial. They forced all of us together and call us Nigeria.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't identify with Nigeria.
Something today, and they were saying that even the name Nigeria was really defensive. It went back to
It's British,
right?
It was an imposed name. It's Africans were known
Africa as an imposed name, and the word Africa is also imposed.
Thank you.
It's Akabulan.
That's right.
Nubia. Don't get me started.
Thank you. Thank you.
One thing I want to say, Helen, can I say one thing? But until Black people are not crazy anymore, everything is talk.
That's right.
And what I mean by that, as I tried to say earlier, which you couldn't hear me, is that even when we are triumphant, we are contaminated. Particularly if we're triumphant after a long-term contact with white supremacist mythology. When Henry Christophe built that beautiful palace that he built in the northern part of Haiti, it looks like an English castle.
Yeah.
And so what we have to start doing, and I'm gonna shut up after this because I can go on and on and on, is that we have to realize that white supremacy runs us crazy. We have to realize that white supremacy mythology breaks laws of the human heart. And it teaches us to break laws of the human heart to copy them. And as long as we're copying them, even when we're triumphant, we're going to relapse back into being at risk for them to come back because we have not come out of the trauma trance.
That's right.
And this conversation about Haiti, I agree with it. And I said earlier that Haiti should be our quote unquote Israel. I mean, not without the exploitation. I'm talking about sacred land for people of African descent. Haiti should be, we all over the diaspora donate to bring that country back to its optimum because it's a hero in our history.
That's
but
right.
we don't know the history. Like I said earlier, when I went to the Citadel, I almost fainted. And some people don't even know what I'm talking about. They've watched Game of Thrones and wasn't impressed by the castles in Games of Thrones. Haitians built some, I was getting ready to cuss. I'm not gonna say the S word. Haitians built some stuff to fight against white supremacy. That's the equivalent of those fantasy fake special effects buildings that they did for real with drawbridges and the whole thing. And we know nothing about it. So we're not going, I'm gonna shut up and say this, Helen. We're not going to do what's right until our brains and our mental health is right. We have been run crazy and we've made it romantic to be crazy instead of resolving the mental illness that paralyzes Black freedom.
Thank you. Very well said.
I want to say something really quickly,
very
quickly regarding the name Africa, the name Nigeria. One thing that Haiti did, because Haiti was called Saint-Domingue, was called Saint-Domingue. One thing that Haiti did, once we gained our independence, we changed the name of the country back to what it was, or people called it Haiti, Haiti, Kiskeya, Boyo. Haiti, Kiskeya, and Boyo are words or names that the indigenous people of the land call the land. It means highland, mountainous land. And if you fly to Haiti, we have mountains, like behind mountains and mountains, very mountainous land. So like the full name of the country is Haiti, Kiskeya, Boyo. And
Haiti ain't no joke. Haiti ain't no joke, y'all. Haiti is no joke at all.
So
and no joke.
Yeah, and our Citadel La Ferrière, it is the biggest fortress, I believe, in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, it is the biggest fortress. If you see, unfortunately, I've never had the opportunity to go, but my parents have gone.
I've been.
You've been. I want to go so
I've
bad.
Been. I want to show pictures because I'm so proud. But I've been.
I want to go.
But I fell on my knees. I started crying when I got there.
Yeah, the Citadel is, and I believe till this day, they have not been able to really map it out completely. Like, you have to be very careful. You have to go with the tour guide. It's easy to get lost in the Ciudad de la Feria. Yeah, and it should be considered one of the
Wonders of the world.
wonders.
It
Not.
is.
It is, but the fact that it's located in Haiti, it is not really advertised as such, but it is one of the great wonders of the world. Yeah, par with like the pyramids and all of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's it.
We'll
That's
have
true.
to definitely visit the Citadel. Dr. Wanda, you have a question? Dr. Wanda?
Trying to unmute myself. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Let me show my face.
Please.
This has been a very enlightening conversation because I happen to chair a committee for Delta Sigma Theta International Awareness and Involvement. And I'm speaking to you in Colorado.
Welcome.
I'm glad we're raising awareness. I also am an associate professor. I teach environmental and social sustainability, including trade. So I've gotten quite a bit of information from you to help raise awareness globally, wherever I'm teaching. My Bondo, which you see in parentheses, is my rename. I was reclaimed by the Mende people of Sierra Leone. I had DNA testing. But aside from that, we're talking about support for Haiti and the African Union. There's something called the ECOWAS, the Economic Community of West African States. And I'm wondering if, because they've included Cuba, at first it was just 15 states, but now they've included Cuba. I'm wondering if there might be some opportunity there. The deltas under my chairmanship do contribute to Haiti. We have an elementary school there, Cynthia Butler McIntyre Tamboo School. And each chapter is required to either donate as a chapter financially or individually or both. So I just wanted to put that out there to let you know that there is that support for Haiti. You may also, I was wondering if there is a UN delegate to Haiti, because I'm required to go to UN conferences.
Yeah, I was wondering when we talked about petitioning the Congressional Black Caucus, I thought of the UN and what is their involvement in Haiti? What is their support for Haiti?
There might be a way to raise awareness there. I'm certainly going to further raise awareness with the new things that I've learned, because I have committee meetings on a weekly basis.
Okay.
And our delegate at the UN is coming up.
Okay.
So I will speak on behalf and see what I can come up with, including sharing the recording of this YouTube video.
Absolutely.
Okay, so that's what I can do based on who.
Thank you, Dr. Wanda, and please come again.
You're an expert.
Okay.
Thank you.
All righty. Thank you. Barbara King, you're next. Ms. King?
Thank you so much. I just want to be brief and say thank you for this meeting today. And I was also invited by Dr. Kalfani from the Africana Institute. I want to say I always admired and appreciate the Haitian people for being the first to overthrow the oppressor of their country. And also, before I get to my other question, I just also want to, and I see Ms. Muying Jackson put it up there already, that you have Dr. Ron Daniels, a professor who has been working with the Haitian organizations to do things to help Haiti for years. He's the one that I know, and he's out of New York, Dr. Ron Daniels. But what I wanted to ask, in terms of the money that America so-called loaned Haiti, is Haiti still paying that money back? That's my question to that. And I plan on going to Haiti the next time Dr. Ron Daniels and his organization, he works with a lot of Haitian groups. And if we could all get together, I know we can make a difference, just like Haiti made the difference from any other African, run country. So I just need to know that question. I know they paid back the other money, or the billions of dollars, but the money that America loaned them, I think you said in 1945, so-called helping them. Did Haiti ever get money back or?
No.
Okay, so they still are paying money to the United States?
There's still embargoes. I'm sorry, go on.
No, go ahead, Cleo. You can go ahead.
There are still.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you.
There are still embargoes, as was mentioned earlier, and still limitations put up where people cannot prosper in Haiti. And there's still debts being paid that are ridiculous. I mean, the fact that Haiti paid anybody from Europe anything, and that we felt like we had to do it, forced us into another level of mental illness, frankly. Because that's like being raped, and then your rapist comes in the door, and you got to give them some money, and you're forced to give your rapist money. That cannot happen. Go on, sister.
I'm sorry, and I want to say, and that's because people who are around you should have been supporting you or supporting the rapist. So that's
right.
Why it wasn't.
But some of the people and this is a point I wanted to make earlier, some of the people who are supporting the rapers have also been traumatized by the rapist. The corruption is not independent. The corruption is based on a coercion on that side as well. White people don't play. They're relentless. They're like a big old fly that won't go away. They are relentless. And we have to be relentless equally, but we also need to be mentally healthy. And I keep on focusing on the fact that mental health is a part of our toolkit to fight against white supremacy, because they have run us crazy.
I think
it was the last thing I just want to say, also in agreement with you, brother, that it was still an enslavement, physically, mentally, and spiritually. So you are right. We can call it crazy because that's what was done to us. So we've been indoctrinated, even like other people, but none like us, to hate ourselves and not do what we need to do to get rid of this. Okay, I'm finished. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. King. I found it very encouraging, whoever offered the example of South Africa seeming very bliss at one, I'm sorry, not bliss. That seemed like it wasn't going to happen at one point, and it did. So
what did?
Yes. I'm sorry.
What did the dismantling of apartheid?
You're right, apartheid. It seemed at one point that South Africa would never see freedom, and we would never see the uprising and the turnaround of government that we had. And they were like, "Come on, America," and everybody else was against dismantling apartheid. So I'm just saying it's encouraging as an example. One never knows, right? I'm sure people never thought that would happen in South Africa as well. So keep hope alive, as Jesse Jackson would say. Sybil. Sybil Elias.
Good evening, everyone. I wanted to keep my hand down. I didn't want to interject. There was so much wonderful information. I have to thank Met Casimir. I have to thank Edouard. I have to thank you, Ms. Higgy, and Professor Linda Power Carter. And I want to talk about Dr. Cleo's point. I'm calling you Dr. Cleo because your interest that you engendered in the conversation about the Citadel and about Palais Sans Souci, I've been there. And I'm a Haitian American, first generation. My father was French Lebanese. My mother, both of them were first generation Haitians. She had family that immigrated from Montserrat, Jamaica, and Trinidad to Haiti. And they had talked to me about Haiti and how it was somewhere to be proud of and not to allow the media to disenfranchise me from the country. And I remember going as a teenager, shocked and appalled at how beautiful Haiti was and the way the media taught me to think otherwise about it. And my son, when he was 5 in private school, was studying castles. And when you talk about brainwash and when you talk about lunacy, I decided that I had to take him to Haiti so that he could see Black people's castles. So we went to Palais Sans-Souci in the north, and as a child that age, he was able to see how ingenious we were. When Dr. Cleo talks about how important that place is, there's no joke about it. I was floored to see the cannons that the Africans had there. When you see American cannons here, they're just plain cannons. The African cannons that the Haitian kings designed, each had artwork. There were more than 50 of them in one whole line, and each one had carved into it beautiful tapestry that you won't see anywhere. It was incredible. When you see the cannonballs and how they place them geometrically sound, it's incredible. And I'll leave you with this one story about how sacred the land is. And when you get there, you can feel it. It's something that reverberates through your soul. But they tell you the story about the castle, Palais Sans-Souci, and the genius of Henry Christophe, the first president there. And after there were rumors that the French wanted to come back and fight some more, he invited them to come. And he strategically had them come through on a side that he had created nothing but mirrors on the side of his palace. Yep. And what he did was he had the army, and Dr. Cleo shaking his head, because if you've been there, they'll tell you the story. He had the militia line up and march through where the soldiers that were coming from France could see them. And the mirrors would make it look as though there were more of them than there really were. And what he would do was then change the line, have the same militia change uniform. He had 4 sets of uniforms for them so that the French could think that they were more powerful than they really were. So when you think about the genius that our people had in keeping us free, not just making us free, but keeping us free. I always say Haiti is not a country just for Haitians. Haiti is a country for any and everybody who believes in self-determination, who believes in the idea of independence and freedom. So I implore all of you to continue this conversation. I've been saying this is, oh my goodness, starting such a warm place in my heart to see how we've been able to talk about this and believe that we can turn it around. So I look forward to a part 2 of this conversation where we can share more things to keep us going and thinking that this is where it began, and this will help us all as a people think brighter about our children's future. Thank you, everyone.
So I'll look for you.
Thank you.
Cleo and Narline and Edouard to let's talk about part 2 and what it looks like. And Linda, you've been very helpful too. So yeah, so I'll look to hear from you, Sybil, on what we can do moving forward. Thank you. Linda had another question. Well, let me ask first, is there anybody on the phone? Because I can never see those hands. Is there anybody else who hasn't spoken yet who wants to speak? This is your time. No? Okay, Linda, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to say, second what Judge Siebel just spoke about. I have the same experience when my daughter, went to the school system here, and every time we talked about taking her to Haiti, she would say, "Oh, Mom, I don't want to go. I'm scared. All you see is what they're showing you on TV." And I said, I want to take you to show you my Haiti, what my Haiti looks like, not what TV or what you hear, what you see. So I promised before she graduated high school, before she goes to college, that I would do that. And I did that in 2018. By the time we came back, she was posting pictures on Instagram and people were asking, "Where are you?" And it was so funny that before we left, she was looking for places where she could visit. And when she came back, we came back from the airport. The first thing she said, when are we going back?
Oh, wow. That's great.
So I just wanted to say sometime, and then if I was listening to my family, my friends who are saying Haiti's unstable, Haiti's this, Haiti's that, but I just wanted to make it my priority to take her to Haiti, because I knew, you know, if she left my house after college, that she would say, okay, I don't want to go, and I wouldn't have that chance. So I'm glad I had the opportunity to do that, because we were posting pictures from Jacques Mel, you know, we went to see Bassin Bleu. And it was like, she was telling me, Mom, it's like everybody from my school, like the girls who goes to Haiti that showed me those pictures. I'm like, oh my God, I'm glad I was able to, you know, to take her. So
absolutely.
Anybody who have the opportunity to do that, I think it's a great opportunity to take your kids to Haiti.
Yeah. You know, it's important for us, whether we're from Haiti, from the United States, from wherever, it's important for us to celebrate us, to tell our own story. You know, we don't do enough of that. And then all of us collectively have a very powerful story, but on an individual basis, we also have great stories. So I'm all about celebrating who we are and the beauty of us.
It's me.
Go ahead, Linda. That would be you, I'm sure.
I just wanted to just throw in, and I'm sure Narline would, otherwise I'd have to test her on Haiti. But Haiti was also responsible in getting Florida away from the Spanish. I'm sure Cleo could speak to this, and it had a role having to do with the state of Georgia. But everybody keep in mind that, oh, this is so wonderful, Narline. I'm so happy everybody's catching up with me. I just don't, Sybil, you just blew me away. I'm gonna go cry. But you know, if it wasn't for Haiti, there would be no United States. Understand? Right. When you talk about the Citadel, that's how they kept the French spending so much money, so they had to sell Louisiana. If it wasn't, you would not have the westward expansion that you hit. And the other thing, you know, Haiti with the Mexicans, Haitians were working along the lines of this whole country. They not only played a role in Haiti, they played a role in the United States. You would not be sitting in New Jersey, Colorado, any of these places for the Haitians. Okay, that's it for me. Gotta go cook.
That's all.
Thanks, Linda.
Oh, that is. Thank you, Linda. Anyway, is there any other questions before we wrap up? I think this has been a very healthy discussion. And
this is
Claire.
Like I just want to
recipe for the soup made with squash. I'm on a vegetarian-based diet, and if you could share that would be nice.
Do we have the recipe, Narline, for that?
I don't have the recipe. I'm sure you can find it online, and yeah, there are plenty of videos for the of people cooking, and I think Oprah, there was a Haitian chef who cooked the soup for her also, and I put in the chat the link to the video of the that were UNESCO recognized the Haitian soup as a freedom soup. Oh, Cleo is sharing pictures.
Oh, wow.
The Citadel. Very nice, Cleo.
That's
so,
me
yeah,
in heaven. What?
Okay.
That's me in heaven.
In heaven.
Oh my God.
Citadel in caption, and I'm telling you, that picture doesn't even show you the scale and the magnificence of this site. And I have lots of pictures. That's the only one I can find, but I have lots. But that's me, my evidence that my body was right there at the Citadel in Haiti. But yes, all Black people should go, and that sister is right. I mean, she brought her child there, and it changed their lives. And if Black people are suffering from self-hate, which over half of us are, if you go to this site and see this, and what Black people did independently, without white folks being involved, matter of fact, to deflect and to conquer them and to save themselves from them, what we built collectively as a unified group, it's amazing.
Wow.
There's no words for you. You just got to go. And they do, and like the sister said, they do have those bougie people. They do have resorts.
Well, I'm just saying that, you know, right.
Well, Helen, you would like it a lot, Helen.
Oh, what are you trying to say there?
I'm messing with you, Helen.
No, but I just think, when we go on vacation, we hop to these other islands, and I'm like, there have to be places that you can find that too, and do the whole tourism thing. Go see the Citadel.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And the food is off the chain.
Absolutely.
You're a foodie, you're gonna lose your mind in Haiti.
Yeah.
Lose your mind. The food's
Yeah, Haitian food is the best. I may be biased.
I was gonna say, you got a little bias there, Marlene.
No, but once you have Haitian food, it's something different. It's something different, right, Cleo?
Yes, yes.
Spicy? Is Haitian food very spicy?
You can get very spicy.
You can get spicy.
Yeah, you can get spicy. Yeah.
I like spicy.
Helen, it's Darlene. Can I make a comment?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm just in awe of this whole discussion because Haiti was my first experience to African culture in 1971. And I believe that was the year, either 70 or 71, when Papa Doc died and Jean-Claude Duvalier, when Baby Doc, I think that was when he took reins there. But I had an opportunity to spend time in Cap-Haïtien, Port-au-Prince, and Pétionville, and to visit some of the beautiful places that I've heard mentioned here. It changed my life. Going to Haiti increased my thirst for more of Africa. And so since then, I've been all over West and East Africa. And I just want to say this has been such a rich conversation. I'm happy that we're going to continue it. And I'm right there with everyone that has mentioned to do something. Yes, we can do a lot, and collectively, it can be monumental. So thank you everyone for your input, your comments. I am I'm so filled with amazing memories. I don't know if Chloe, if you remember the Iron Market. Were you there during that time?
Yes.
And do you remember it was burned down and
Yes.
folks, the merchants lost everything. The Iron Market was amazing, amazing. It was an amazing place. So being there for 2.5 weeks, I met the merchants and they all became my friends because we went there every single day. And that's where my money was spent. But anyway, that's all I wanted to say is that I am so full of memories and my heart is happy today. Thank you all.
Okay. I know.
Marlene, this is Claire. I just want to piggyback on what you just said. I was born in Port-au-Prince, raised in Cap-Haïtien, and I was able to take my husband to Haiti in 1985, right before the dictatorship ended. We were there in December, flew home January 2nd, and then he was overthrown. And then we were able to take our whole family, my daughter, my young men who were at that time, they were 12 years old. And we toured the country for 2 weeks. Started in Port-au-Prince, went all the way up north to Cap-Haïtien, going through all the towns there, visited the Citadel, came back to Cap-Haïtien, stayed at a resort. This is in 2016. Spent a few days at a resort. So we were able to experience the Haiti vacation that we so desperately would like to share with the world. It is just unimaginably beautiful. And then we took a trip to the south. We went through Jacmel, we went through Lake Cayenne, and we came up north from the west coast. And I put in the chat to check out the grotto, the caves. There was a cave that blew your mind. How can this country that has these just mind-blowing mountainous views and beautiful beaches also have the deep cave that we were able to see in the West Coast? It was just unbelievable that it was all in one place. And I'm so thankful that we were able to see that with our children in 2016. The last time I was in Haiti was in 2019. We stopped on a cruise up in the north and met my family, came and visited us at the cruise port. They weren't letting you out to go to Cap-Haïtien at that point. So we were able to just visit there, but unimaginably beautiful and proud to be Haitian
All right.
110%.
That's all, just 110%?
Yes.
Thank you, Claire. And Bree, you've been very patient. Where are you at?
Thank you so much. I'm based in Brooklyn, New York. I've been listening into the conversation. I work for a design agency, and I've been building shoes with my team for the day all weekend, and just have been listening in. And I just wanted to chime in and just say thank you so much. I myself am a community organizer, and one of my co-founders with my nonprofit, and the community work is also in the room today. My aunt shared this link with me, and I just wanted to thank you all for knowing that community is possible as life continues. And it's part of the work that we've been doing in the community. In doing the work for the last 8 years, it's really been prominent and prevalent that intergenerational and multi-generation groups get into the same conversation and share their perspectives and their information with each other. So again, I've just been listening today, and I'm planning on moving personally to Florida in the next year. And part of that is to be closer to home and closer to the cultures and the islands where we all as Black Americans live and come from today. I'm first generation, and I've just always felt robbed of an experience and the culture and knowledge of being from Haiti, which obviously we all come from elsewhere as well, from Africa and such too, to be in Haiti. So I just want to also say I hope that I can join these conversations more in the future, and that if you all have the space and the mindfulness for it, so like also please include us as the younger generations in this conversation as well.
We always want your voice.
Share ideas, and I think the intercontinental and just like finding ways to share economy and build, as you all said, to bring business to Haiti and kind of keep that system of growth and economics within our own control and within our own hands, and being the leaders of that. It's possible. Those little hyper local and centralized communities and ways of living, I think, are the way of the future, to get back to tribalism and things of that nature. So I'd love to be a part of these conversations as well. But I thank you for just being an example of the fact that a lifetime of community is something that is necessary and needed. So I just want to say thank you more so than anything.
Well, no, thank you. And we look to have intergenerational conversations. And as I said on the outset, it's, most often it's women. We do invite men to some of our Black men to our, it's a space for Black people, but for Black women on a regular basis. And we want it to be intergenerational. So absolutely, definitely be looking for you to be a part of future conversations. I'll add you to our email list, and whenever you can pop in, please do. And please, contribute. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Please send me all the emails, and I'd love to connect personally one-on-one as well. Thank you.
Great, thank you. I see one more hand. It is, who is that? I can't say the name, help me, Arlene.
Quantivia.
Quantivia, go ahead, Quantivia, let's hear from you.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Quantavia Hilbert.
Hi.
Hi. I'm actually a candidate for City Council here in Orange, New Jersey. And I love this forum and this session, everything that was being discussed. I was actually invited by Dr. Calfany, so I thank him so much for including me in this tonight's meeting. But I just wanted to say, it's really important that we continue the conversation, because being, in my 30s, I actually didn't learn about the diaspora and everything there was to know about our Caribbean heritage until I reached college. But I think it's really important to have this intergenerational conversation open to many, and not even just in New Jersey. I love the fact that I heard someone was from Colorado, and we have people in different cities and different states.
Countries.
Yes, different countries. It's beautiful that we're able to network on this level. And I wanted to say, being that my family is from a Caribbean background, but my fiance, he's Haitian. And he took me to Haiti for the first time. And like someone else said previously, you hear that narrative that, oh, Haiti's not safe, and, you know, all of the corruption, and every city, every country, every state has its negative and positive. But when I went there, I saw some of the things, but then I saw the beauty, and then I saw the possibilities. So I think it's very important that we as a community that you guys have created here band together, bring in all our resources to really help our brothers and sisters, and really develop and provide for the future for Haiti, that is Haiti. And currently, majority of the people on my campaign are Haitian born or Haitian American, Caribbean. You know, we're extremely diverse here. I assist with helping a lot of my community members with starting their own businesses. They're very influential with the politics and the schools. And it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful influence that the Haitians have on today's society, on the lifestyles that we all live. And many have said, if it wasn't for Haiti, where would we be today?
Yeah.
You know, I have family from Jamaica, I have family from Bahamas, you know, I have family from Panama. Where would we be? So I don't want to say pay our dues, but we have to look back and say, okay, wait a minute. We have to make sure for the unity and the development, because if we don't develop and change the narrative now, there will be no future, and the exploitation will continue.
Mhm.
So thank you again for this session, for the knowledge that many of you have bestowed upon us. Cleo, I think his name is Dr. Cleo, very inspirational as well. It touched me. And then please keep me in the email or any information that comes out in the future.
Yeah.
I would love to share it with my community as well. Like I said, here in New Jersey, large, massive, and impactful Haitian community. They would all love to be a part of this conversation.
Okay. Well, it definitely looks like we're going to have to do a part 2. We just have to figure out when and what the focus will be. But yeah, thank you so much, and good luck in your election.
Thank you.
Yeah,
and what a beautiful name, Quantavia.
Quantavia.
Yeah.
Beautiful name. It's a beautiful name. That's all.
Thank you so much.
So when is your election, Quantavia?
My election is May 10th. May 10th.
Mother's Day, around that time. So anyway, good luck to you. That'd be a great Mother's Day gift.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And anytime want to do something in person here in the city, I would definitely work with you guys, with your agent organization, and Dr. Calfany, who is a very dear
Is Dr.
friend.
Calfany on this call now, or are they gone? I don't know. Do I know Dr. Calfany? I don't think so.
No,
Do you
Helen,
know
he's a professor. He's a professor at Essex County College. He was one of my colleagues, and I invited him to invite people.
Oh, wonderful.
Yes.
Well,
And
he
Dr.
tell him he came through.
Do you know Dr. D, Dr. Daniel D? He's the optometrist here. And I believe Mr. Pierre Eloi, or his brother here. I believe they're also on this call as well. So these are some people that I know from my community that I do business with on a regular, or my fiance does business with on a regular.
Very good.
You have to be in touch with me because I'm running for council at large in the city of Newark, and I'm trying to tap into the population from Haiti in Newark.
Okay.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
All right.
Please
So you all
email
connect.
that. Yeah.
You all connect through Dr. Calfany and make that happen. And good luck to both of you in your
so much. Bless
election.
everyone. Be safe.
Okay. Thank you for coming, and come again. Okay. So on that note, I unless there's just a burning question, does anyone have? Because Narline, thank you for your time. I know you probably like, I need to go eat dinner or something.
I think it's a pleasure.
I'm sorry, was that you, Judy?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I think a couple people wanted the links for the campaigns for Linda and Quantavia.
They wanted what?
The links to their campaigns.
Oh, so Linda and Quantavia, drop your information in the chats where people can help you with your campaign. Thank you, Judy. That's a smart move. Yeah.
Thank you, Judy. Thank you, Judy.
Ellen, do you see that last, do you see that, do you see that last chat?
Helen's gonna put my stuff in.
No, I'm not. I don't even have your stuff. What are you asking me? Did I see the last? Okay, Cleo, thank you, my dear. We'll get you back here again for sure, for sure.
It was a pleasure meeting you, Cleo.
You've not met Cleo before? Oh,
No, we haven't met before.
girl, you missed a treat. He'll be back with.
Yes. After I missed the, I know that Cleo, you spoke after the assassination of the Haitian president, right? But I missed that call.
Yeah. Thank
But
you.
I'm sure we'll speak again.
Cleo's always welcome in Higgy House.
I put my contact, for those who are asking about contacting me, I put it in the chat.
Okay.
Email. Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great evening.
Helen, somebody put in a link about a 4-part series.
Somebody
put
that?
Somebody
No.
wrote it in the chat, said Sophia.
Okay, if it's in the chats, people will grab it. Yeah, I didn't see it, but yeah. So it's a 4-part series on Haiti. I'm imagining.
No, I thought they were saying they wanted you to do a 4-part.
Oh,
No, did I get it wrong?
Miss Helen, it's me, Sophia Muhammad. I said,
Hi,
can we
Sophia.
can we do a 4-part series instead of just 2? Because it's such a rich conversation and there's so much coalition building that's happening from this conversation. I was hoping you could move it to a 4-part. I'm just giving you work, Miss Helen, that's all.
I hear you, girl. Y'all know I'm a single operator here, right? But I appreciate it. No, because, once we move forward, and every time we've had so many calls, even Ghana was the same. Like, we could do, there's always more. And the thing is that we need to, as a global community, we need to start having these conversations in more circles, more than once a month. It needs to be a regular thing that's happening, especially in light of what's happening around us right now. In the United States and elsewhere. But yeah, so thank you, Ms. Muhammad. Anyone else before I let Ms. Narline go and we wrap this thing up? Narline, you've been wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure. Yeah. And I hope that next time we can have people who are actually living in Haiti currently speak to us. So yeah.
Quintavia, maybe she and her fiance can help us work on that part, getting people from the island to talk back, join in with us. Because that was a challenge this time. I was really surprised. But even still, I just thought it was a healthy conversation that we needed to have. If to do nothing else than what we've done here to dispel the negative myths that we hear about Haiti. Because I just can't imagine that it's not as beautiful as DR. It's the same piece of land. So we can go there and it has to have the same beautiful beaches and all that. I mean, that's just my assumption. I've not been there. So
Helen, when I was there, and this is very brief, when I was there in 2012 with the delegation, we found this beach and it looked like it was untouched, like it wasn't, it's like, own little place. It was just so beautiful. The water was so clear, and this is what a lot of beaches in Haiti look like. And you just walk and you go on the beach, and that's it. It's just there,
right?
Not owned privately, just there. And
so it's up to us to tell our stories. I don't think we can stress that enough. And we can't even believe the hype about Black Americans that they push about us. So if we know the narrative about us is not true, then we have to know that the narrative about other Black people around the world is not true. And the same way, the reaction that you all have about the Citadel in Haiti, it was the same thing that I had when I was in Egypt. I mean, you literally walk around all day like, amazed by yourself, about yourself, because it's like people can tell you whatever they want, but then we have these living examples that say otherwise about who we are. And we have to become familiar with those things and to embrace them and to share them with other people and start telling our own stories. I can't say it any other way. And on that note, I'm going to say thank you again, Miss Narline. There's lots of information.
Welcome.
That's everybody. Make sure you grab that information. I will share this video. If you obviously you signed in, so I have your email address. So I'll be sure and send you this video, and you can share it widely. And you know, and like somebody said, if we can network and build coalitions out of this circle, then I'm very happy. Then, you know, mission accomplished. So
And Helen,
note,
one
yeah.
more thing. Are we able to save the chat?
Yes. You know what? Somebody told me, I was on a call recently, and there's a real cool way to save the chat. Something about 3 dots. Melinda, are you on this call? Because it was her call where she was telling people, I don't know, she was on here earlier. Is she gone?
Helen?
Yes.
You open the chat. If somebody opens the chat where you type in next to everyone, there's a little smiley face and 3 dots, and then you can save the chat and it saves to your computer.
Is that Melinda talking?
No, this is Jerry.
Oh, hi, Jerry. Yes,
Hi.
that's the same. That's what she said. I don't know where she, yeah, but did you get that? But otherwise, I'll send them to you, Narline, so don't worry.
I don't see that.
It's right where, yeah, it's right at the bottom where you type your own text in.
Right.
Go all the way to the right.
On the
You see those
far
3
right.
little dots? All the way to the right.
Smiley face and then the dots.
Yeah, I don't
Lower
have.
It
right
might
hand
depend
corner.
to what kind of, like if you're on a tablet or if you're on a Mac
I'm
or
on
Windows, they
I'm
might
on
be
a Chromebook.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't worry. If you want the chats, if you didn't get a chance to save them, then let me,
Okay.
let me know and I'll get them to you. I can figure out where they are. They just went away from me too. Okay, so everybody, I'm going to stop the recording. We can hang out for a few more minutes after that, but this call is officially over. And thank you so much, Narline. And we will definitely be following up on, you know, the work that needs to be done from here on. Okay, so let me stop the recording. And good night, everybody, and we'll see you next week. But you don't have to leave just, what they say, you don't have to leave just yet. Hold on. Thank you so much.
Okay.